Hey there, it's Brittany with Marvel and Make, and today I'm taking you through the refrigerator. So I first took you through the pantry, then the freezer, or freezers, because I have 4, and now I'm taking you through my refrigerators. I've got 2 refrigerators. I'm starting with the one in the utility room because it is the second fridge and it's kind of more of our overstock items or our items that we get in bulk that need to be refrigerated. That's what ends up in here. So first, what I will typically put in here are leftovers. I do have quite a few leftovers in the main fridge right now, but what I will do in this fridge is I will take a whole pot of something and just put it away. So, for example, dinner tonight was like a pork. I did a Boston butt, cooked really slow and delicious with some gravy, and served it over some cheese grits. So I have leftover cheese grits, and it's just enough for breakfast. What I will do in the morning is add a little bit of milk to this and then just slowly warm it over the stove. You may have heard me say before that we do not have a microwave. So a lot of my, well, all of my warming happens in a pot or a pan on the stove, or I'll use the oven. And side note on the whole microwave thing, I was really unsure about that until I finally just got rid of it. And actually all I did was I moved it into the utility room, and I keep it there for anybody who's visiting. Like our nanny will use it to heat her items up, and maybe other people will if they visit, but we never ever use it. It just kind of stays in here and it's out of sight, out of mind. I would say if you have ever wanted to get rid of your microwave, just move it out of the way and you will very quickly figure out how to warm things. You will also find that it takes just about as long to warm something on the stove or in the oven. The oven takes a little bit longer, but warming something on the stove is really just as fast as warming it in the microwave. And everything warms very evenly, and you can warm it on the stove top, and it's just better quality. So definitely recommend doing that. So I've got this in here. I also have a whole Dutch oven that's got some leftover soup. So again, I'll just take that whole Dutch oven out, put it on the stove, warm it up, and we will have that. Now we buy raw milk, and I can leave a link below to a great website that can kind of educate you more on raw milk if you are unfamiliar with that. I'm not going to get into it here. It is what our family drinks. We absolutely love it. We have been doing it for years. We swear by it. Feel healthier from drinking it. It is what I consider to be a health food. So we buy raw milk. We pick raw milk up from a farm. It's actually one of the farmers delivers here, and pick it up from him once a week. So I get 3 gallons of milk from him a week, and they are sold in half gallons. And so all of the jugs of milk go in this fridge, and then I just pull one at a time to the main fridge. And you just notice, let's see, this one's already starting to mix up, but there's a nice cream line that sits on top. Really delicious. Also from a farm, we buy lard. Lard is by far my favorite thing to fry anything in or cook anything in at all. I love it. So I'm actually down to 1 of these, but I typically get 4 or 5 of them from a local farm. The farm that I get this lard from is about an hour away, so I stock up on the lard so that I'm not driving, every couple weeks to get it. I just get like 4 or 5, and then once we're down to 1, which we are, I will get more. So these are the tortillas that I mentioned in the pantry episode. I actually have not tried these yet. These are Stacy's from Azure. So I have 2 different sizes here, and we will give those a try. I think we'll probably love them. These are actually supposed to stay frozen, not cold, but I just popped them in the fridge and they still look fine, so I do need to use them. I have extra citrus in this fridge. I do have lemons and limes in the other fridge as well, but this is just kind of my overstock. Next is butter. So we just recently got a Costco membership, and one of the main reasons was because they sell Kerrygold butter. Kerrygold does a really nice grass-fed butter. I stock up on butter like crazy. In fact, so I'm down to 2 of these. This is like 4, how many is this? It's 4 8-ounce packs. So it's 2 pounds of butter. When I got 8 of these the last time I was at Costco, and I was walking out, you know, they check your receipt, and the guy checking my receipt was, "What are you gonna do with all that butter?" I was like, "Bake with it, cook with it, it's delicious." He's like, "That's a lot of butter." But we do go through a lot of butter. If it's not cooked in lard, it's cooked in butter, and I do a lot of baking, so we run through it like crazy. Some garlic. This was, again, Azure, love them. And I typically will get 2 of these in an order, and I will put 1 in the pantry and work my way through it, and then take the one that's in the fridge and move it to the pantry once that one is gone. Okay, this is kind of heavy. Rice. This is about half gone. It's a 20-pound bag of rice. This was also a Costco find. Just an organic rice, and I am storing it in the fridge to prolong its life. Cabbage, again from Azure. This one I will use, I'll do like a cabbage and sausage 1-pot meal probably. And then this one I will turn into sauerkraut. That's all that I'm gonna pull out of this fridge. The other thing that this fridge stores are drinks. So we have beer in here, and we have sparkling water, and I see some ginger beer. If I ever buy juice for the boys, then I would put it in here. I really don't buy juice because it's just sugar. But and then the last thing that I see are duck eggs. That we have kind of a big bucket of duck eggs. We have our own ducks and our own chickens. And I use the chicken eggs all the time. The duck eggs, usually we do cured duck egg yolks, or I might use them in like a cake or a brownie or something like that. So let's move on to the kitchen fridge. We are in the kitchen, and this is the main fridge. And would you like to guess? I have a package in here, something that I received in the mail. What could this be? A big package. I put the whole thing in the fridge real quick the other day. This is my cheese. So I figured I would do an unboxing for you. I already cut it, but I haven't actually looked at it yet. So, okay. Invoice, because the way that you order this is you call a very nice lady on the phone and you tell her what you want, and she mails it to you and then sends you an invoice, and you send her a check. Yep, you pay after you get your cheese. This is the best cheese. It's a raw cheese from a nice family up in Pennsylvania. So I will show you what it looks like. They pack it with an ice pack. That's that. I will keep it. It'll go in the freezer. And here's the cheese. Okay, so these are 5-pound blocks. I got raw sharp cheddar and raw Monterey Jack, and also a raw Colby. This cheese is so good. So I will put a link to the family who makes the cheese, so you can contact them if you would like to purchase any. We've been using it for probably at least a year now, and we just love it. We love the quality. We love the flavor that it imparts to our meals. A tip, if you do end up buying the 5-pound block of cheese, is to just slice it off as you need it, so that the cheese stays in the plastic that it comes in. I just noticed that it prolongs the life. And then I just kind of seal it up with a piece of plastic. So my cheese goes in my drawer, along with, of course, lots of butter. So this is what the butter looks like that I get from Costco. So it's basically 2 sticks, you know, in one, or 1 cup of butter, or 8 ounces. Then from our local grocery store, I buy the individual sticks of butter. All the butter that I buy is unsalted, just best for recipes, and then you can control your salt level. And I like the individual sticks usually for baking, so I do buy those. Also buy cream cheese. This is just from our local grocery store. I do make cream cheese. I don't make cream cheese often, but it is a very simple process. Sally Fallon Morrell has a really good recipe in her book, Nourishing Traditions, which I will link. So follow that, especially if you're working with raw milk. You should make your own cream cheese. But I do keep at least 1, if not 2 of these on hand at all times. Or I have some breakfast meat, so I have bacon, and then I have some pan sausage. This is the same pan sausage that I mentioned in the freezer video. It is one of our all-time favorites. The produce drawers. Right now I have some poblano peppers that I'm going to use in my cornbread casserole. I will link that recipe. I typically use cubanelles, but these poblanos looked really nice from our local produce stand, so I'm going to use those instead. Also from the local produce stand were some mangoes. This will just be a nice snack for the boys and maybe for me too. I also always keep on hand celery and bell peppers. Bell pepper, the red kind, I just think are the best. I think they're the sweetest, so I always buy red. And then I typically also have carrots, and I'm out of those right now, so that is missing from this drawer. Okay, in the other produce drawer, I have some cherries and some plums. This is kind of the snack drawer, so I might have, like I said, cherries, plums, maybe some nectarines or peaches, or grapes, apples, pears. We have some pear trees, so when the pears are on the trees, then that's a nice snack. I don't typically let the boys have a lot of fruit, no more than like a piece a day, just because it is a lot of sugar. Okay, in that drawer, I also have quite a few pears and some lemons and some limes, so I keep lemons and limes in here, and then the overstock goes into the other fridge. Next up is yogurt. So this is homemade yogurt from the raw milk. So we keep this on hand. This is just plain yogurt, and then we will eat it with bee pollen and maybe a touch of honey and some sliced up pears, some walnuts. It's really good. It's actually like probably our favorite dessert, and it's super nutritious. I also always have buttermilk on hand. Buttermilk is another one that is so easy to make yourself. You can take some raw milk, and you can take store-bought buttermilk and add a little bit of that buttermilk to the raw milk. Leave it sitting out on the counter for 24, 36, 48 hours. You just kind of watch it. Just make sure you cover it with a tea towel or a paper towel or something, and it will turn into buttermilk. And buttermilk is like that really delicious kind of depth of flavor, secret ingredient that you can use in mac and cheese or mashed potatoes, or I have a great buttermilk biscuit recipe that I will link, but lots of uses for buttermilk. I have some sweet tea that I brewed earlier today. This is the little fancy container that I put our raw milk in. I think that there's something really special about drinking milk out of glass. It keeps it cooler. It's kind of just got that, country feel. I will link this lid. We love it. Here are some pears that I preserved last year that we're working our way through. Typically I will add a little ring to the top, but I just I probably was rushing and I just popped it right back in the fridge. These won't last very long. We will pour like the pear liquid and the pear into the yogurt, and that will be a delicious dessert. Also, I put these up last year. These are bread and butter pickles, so that is in there. If you haven't used these plastic lids for your mason jars, I will link those. They're great. I have 2 sourdough starters. This one stays kind of in the back of my fridge, and I feed it maybe every month with quite a bit of flour and very little water, so that it just is, this is my backup in case like this one falls off the counter and breaks or something. I don't want to lose my whole starter. So I always have 2, one that I feed less frequently than this one. This one is the one that I use more often. Here is the lard that we use all the time. So I do have this one and then the other one that I already showed you. And I also have some sour cream. I really prefer to buy sour cream from a local farm, but there's only one that has sour cream, and it's that same one that has the lard, and it's an hour away. So I get it when I stock up, but otherwise I'm buying store-bought. And I have tried to make sour cream. I have done it. It is not hard. However, it doesn't have the same texture as the one that I get from the farm. There's a different recipe that I'm looking at, and so I'm gonna try that one and see if it's any different. Also, totally would prefer to buy heavy cream from a farm. That same farm has really delicious heavy cream. Again, hour away, so I don't get it as often, so we go with the just organic kind that is store-bought. We use heavy cream in coffee, and then I also use it for ice cream, and use it to, maybe make a Alfredo sauce or something like that. So I use it in recipes. I'll typically stock up on these. This is an Azure mustard, Dijon and stone ground. This stone ground mustard, y'all, is so delicious. If you are making beef liver pate, do some pate and this stone ground mustard on a cracker. Oh my goodness, it's so good. But we eat this also with, like, if we're doing brats with some sauerkraut, we'll do that too. So I'm looking in the main part of the fridge, and that's really everything that's kind of noteworthy. The rest that's in there are some leftovers, the leftovers from lunch today and from dinner tonight. And what we'll do with our leftovers is have them for lunch during the week. So it's very rare that I'm cooking anything for lunch. Usually it's just a leftover. So the items in this store, the door that you cannot see, are items that we use for making drinks. That might be a whole nother episode, but I'm not gonna get into that here. And then items over here, I have butter. So this is the butter that obviously I've opened and I will, use for cooking. Condiments. I do a lot of times make our own mayo, but I also keep some on hand just because it's easy. Lemon and lime juice. Typically I will use fresh, but this is kind of my backup, and also just if I need a little bit and I don't feel like pulling out everything to squeeze some lime or lemon, then I'll have that. Ketchup, I also actually have a ketchup that's from a local farm that I totally prefer, but we do have this one again kind of as a backup, and then another backup mustard. These are some pickled jalapenos that my sister made for us, really delicious. Other items in the door, barbecue sauce, some relish, some jelly, Worcestershire and hoisin and mirin sauce. I'll use those in certain Asian dishes. Yeast, obviously you use this for bread making. Your yeast will keep longer if you keep it in the fridge. The last thing to share is sauerkraut. So I just did a batch of the sauerkraut maybe about a week and a half ago or so. And so this is the one that we're working our way through. And so I, have the kind of more convenient lid. And then this one is the backup. And I will actually, we will go through this pretty quick. So I'll go ahead and get some more going with that cabbage that I showed you earlier. That's it. That's everything I keep in the fridge. I would love to know if you thought this video was useful. Give it a thumbs up, and make sure you check out the other videos, the what I keep in a freezer and what I keep in the pantry. And make sure you're following marvelandmake.com for nutrient dense and nourishing recipes. Thanks.